The 2014 Counselors Academy of the Public Relations Society of America Spring Conference will take place this May 4th through 6th in Key West, Florida. Hello, I'm Tom Garrity, this year's co-chair for the conference, and we have a lot of great sessions for you, including some stellar keynote speakers like Steve McKee of McKee, Walwork & Company. Steve McKee is also a columnist for BusinessWeek.com and an author of a great book appropriately called Power Branding. Steve, what is this book all about?
Power Branding, it's the culmination of 30 years in the branding business. Everything I know packed into one very small book. 75 short chapters, each of which has a power branding principle, which is something one of the best brands in the world did. And somebody described it to me as like popcorn or potato chips, that you think you can eat just one chapter, you think you can bite just one thing, but you keep reading and you keep going and you keep going. So it's both a branding primer, if you will, and a reference manual that any company can use to grow.
So as a part of the power branding approach, there are a number of core principles. Let me ask you quickly about a few of them. Trust is built on familiarity and destroyed by exploitation.
Yes, power branding principle. One of the key tenets of power branding is this understanding that the relationships people form with brands are different in degree, but not in kind from any other human relationships that we have. And so just like any relationship, the better you get to know somebody, the better you get to know a brand, the more trust tends to build. And at the same time, if that trust is violated, even in a small way, the relationship tends to deteriorate. And what's interesting and what's so funny, and one of the connections I hope to make at the conference is, most of the time I work with brands and we talk about these kinds of principles with respect to them and their audiences. But as a columnist who gets pitched a lot by PR people, I see this principle coming to life a lot.
And then yet another power branding core principle includes win the heart and the mind will follow. Talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, there's no cliche that says people buy an emotion and justify with facts. And the reason it's a cliche is because it's true. And this is another way of saying that whether we're trying to introduce a brand to a new consumer audience or connect a B2B company with its clients, or even, again, journalists and PR people, it's really more about winning the heart than winning the mind. We talk so much about positioning and strategy and unique selling propositions and all those things, and they're important. But and I know that the most important thing is to form that relationship, to win the heart, to build the trust, and then all the rest of the stuff can come afterwards.
And finally, Steve, what are two different items that attendees will walk away from when your speech concludes at the Hemingway House in Key West, Florida?
I assume you mean other than a sunburn and a few extra pounds. I actually hope that people can walk away with a little bit of inspiration and honestly a little bit of frustration, perhaps. The kind of frustration that comes from hearing good ideas and knowing that you can do something with them. The kind of frustration that turns into motivation when you get home. And so I hope that people leave with a handful or two of ideas that they can apply to their client strategies the very next day, and also that they can apply to their own firms to help them become power brands in their own right.
Thank you, Steve. I look forward to seeing you in Key West. And you, too, can actually get connected to Counselors Academy. On Twitter, it's at CAPRSA. And then, of course, you can always learn more about our speakers and programming by visiting our website for the conference, prsa.org/conferences/Counselors Academy. We'll see you in Key West.